Jesus, in Matthew 16, we saw, reproves the religious leaders of his day because they were not able to discern the time. By contrast, the men of Issachar in 1 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 32, speaks of the men of Issachar who understood the times and knew what Israel should do. Now, brothers and sisters, that's what we need to do. All right? Whether we live in Iowa, or whether we live in Florida, or whether we live in the Adirondacks, or whether we live in New York City, but I think all the more so as those who live in New York City, that's what we need. We need that discernment. We need to understand the times so we know what to do. What are we going to do as a church? As things become more epistemologically self-conscious, and the hostility, the enmity, and the hatred against God's thoughts and ways becomes more self-evident. As legislation is passed that no longer protects and promotes righteousness, but protects and promotes wickedness. What are we going to do? How are we going to respond? Are we just going to crawl in a hole like ostriches? Keep our heads in the ground? Are we going to try to go to a monastery or a nunnery and hide from the world? That's not what we're called to do. We're called to be salt and light. But how are we going to do it? We need discernment to understand the times. And we need discernment to understand what we should do.